Welcome to Phil and Bob's Treehouse.
The Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice creep on the corner. Don't look so nice. Now he's pooping. Why, I don't know. Life's full of mysteries. Now it's time for the show.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Hi, I'm Bob.
We live in New York City, home to the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between. This is our take on the human carnival.
Funding for this podcast is generously provided by Homeless Depot, New York City's only one-stop superstore serving a unique segment of our unhoused neighbors, the single, male, persistent street homeless. Our first location, conveniently located on Randall's Island, will offer, all free of charge, a coffee shop, liquor store, library, internet access with no pornography blockers, and a full-scale replica of a Duane Reade, where unlimited soap and sundries can be shoplifted. The Homeless Depot. If you build it big enough, you can sweep anything under a rug. So,
yeah,
homelessness.
Tough issue.
What are your thoughts on this sponsor?
Yeah, for sure, that business will not fly politically. You remember how the mayor built those migrant tents on Randall's Island? And, like, the New York Post is like, shame, funding to coddle the homeless.
Oh, but here's the twist that I think I should bring up and may change your mind,
Right.
is this is not funded by the New York City government.
Oh, yes, sorry.
This is funded by the New York City Business Improvement Council as a private organization, and essentially it is just all the merchants of the city. Starbucks, Duane Reade.
Oh, to get them out of their neighborhood?
Yeah, the persistent stream homeless, you
Right.
see them, and they
Right.
tend to, at least the single male sub-segment of this population, they like to hang out at the liquor store. You know, they go to the library. Often they're looking for porn. Coffee shops.
Right.
Like Starbucks, they're hanging out there. Somebody came up with this, went against the conventional wisdom, says, look, instead of just, having hassles with them in each of our stores, let's build a superstore. Well, all of this stuff is free. These guys can go there.
Yeah.
And our stores, our regular stores then will have less of an issue.
It's almost like an experiment in, like, social engineering. You know how, like, Starbucks and the public library, like Barnes & Noble, they basically have become just homeless shelters.
Yeah.
But what if you build all that shit?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll actually use the services? They'll actually, like, drink coffee and read a book.
That is the great social experiment that's going on here.
They should build just a giant ATM lobby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
With fake ATM machines.
On the left, you have many people saying it's not a crime to be homeless.
Yeah.
And we agree with that, I think. Our politics are fairly liberal here in New York City.
Right.
As an aside, I mentioned, I think you have some communists in your family, I think, too,
that's
right?
true.
You have some hardcore socialists and communists, I think. But we won't get into that.
At a later episode.
The Jews, I think, there have been some really radical left-leaning Jews over history.
Yeah. What was that?
The
Julius,
Goldman,
Julius
and
whatever.
Ethel Goldberg or something. Yeah. So anyway, it's not a crime to be homeless, but look, there are these single male persistent street homeless that like to hang out in places where there's interactions with other citizens. Yeah. And don't judge us until you've walked a mile in our shoe, until you've walked out of your apartment and there's a big pile of steaming human feces there, or you're walking with your daughter and some guy with a transistor radio taped to his chest is like screaming obscenities and like you feel threatened.
True.
And I'm sick of that. I'm sick of the far left. It's usually some kid who's 23, a white kid who went to Bard or Hampshire, and he's like fighting any efforts to try to address the homeless population. Right. But you ask people who actually live in the community for a long time. Yeah. True New Yorkers. We're born here.
We need to get a fucking like an expert guest on this show. Like, we need a guy who's a like an expert in, like, urban planning kind of solving.
Like Robert Moses.
His answer is just displace everyone.
Well, yeah.
But, like, sounds like it's going the same direction.
This kind of sounds fun for these guys. You imagine it's a playground with it's a Duane Reade. It looks like a Duane Reade, but you could go in there and take anything you want. There's no security. Those little things on it. Yeah. You go. There's a coffee shop. There's a full-scale replica of a Starbucks, a Dunkin' Donuts. All the bathrooms are open there. Yeah. There's a liquor store. You drink whatever you want.
Yeah. They should be like a bus depot.
Yeah. There's browsers and computers where you surf all the porn you want, charge your phones, etc. We have places where the left is asking for drug addicts to shoot up in comfort. Yeah. Why don't you have
good point.
The homeless depot?
What are the sleeping accommodations?
Well, that's what I'm saying. What they're addressing is what the persistent street unhoused, if you find homeless offensive, that term, what they do during the day, because I think a large portion of them don't want to go into the shelters.
Right.
And that's where the 25-year-old Hampshire grad is like, oh, you can't force them into the shelter.
What do you mean, so they walk
Meanwhile, they
across
live in some nice brownstone that their daddy bought them.
Well, to be honest with you, it seems a little strange, I'm not sure it's going to work, but no one solved this problem the homeless problem in New York in like 100 years. So, you might need
Eric
some
Adams, if you're listening, this is a radical solution that we have to, I think it's got to be put on the table. I mean, there's all these other non-conventional wisdom strategies that have been put out there for other tough social problems. Like Bloomberg, brought up the idea of direct payments to people to improve their health. Like just literally bribes to like walk 2 miles a day or not drink soda.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it seems radical, but who knows? Maybe it takes private investment for this kind of.
Well, right now, the New York City Business Improvement Council, mom and pop stores, but also the big chains.
Wait, so do you think now you're going to be able to go to Starbucks and it'll be not a homeless shelter anymore?
Well, it becomes a numbers game, right? Because if they're over on Randall's Island, then presumably they won't be, at the one in Union Square or Astor Place.
Right.
Yeah, and you could go in there and just not have to, worry about sort of unprovoked attack. Not that all homeless people are violent, but if you're the dad of that Asian woman who got pushed to her death in front of a subway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to hear about the rights of people to be homeless. Okay, what about the right not to be pushed in front of a subway?
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah. Yes, so no subway. I guess maybe the subway it won't be as possible. I mean, the subway's a big homeless gathering spot.
Yes, it's the unofficial homeless depot.
I was just uptown on Friday at the Armory, just going to a track meet. So it's like near the top of the A train, right?
Yeah.
And that express to go back downtown, I mean, it's express, so it runs fast, but it's like a long trip. And it was at like 10 at night, and I was stuck in a tube with like a maniac,
Yeah.
Like and he was like throwing stuff around, and so maybe.
I know, and if you're listening to this, like, whoa, Phil and Bob took a hard right turn. We didn't. I mean, it's safe to say we voted Democrat. I'm not going to presume for you. I don't think I've ever voted for a Republican in my life.
Well, I've voted for Republicans. Who?
Yeah.
I voted for Bloomberg. He's Republican.
Well, didn't he run as an independent?
I don't
and then
know.
he switched to Democrat. I mean, he was a rhino.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I vote for the guy. I'll vote for the Democrat, and then if I don't, I have no strategy really.
Yeah.
Like it's like most of the people I vote for, I've never heard of.
But I think we need this. It's something to address the homeless problem in New York City because you're, at this point, people like you and me who are, left-leaning are just, we're exasperated. Right. Something's got to be done.
Yeah.
And you know what? Shout out to the New York City Business Improvement Council.
Yep.
They're trying something that it sounds like maybe it'll be effective.
Right.
They're zigging when everyone else is zagging. Okay? Building more shelters, that's not going to solve anything.
I don't think so.
And the Hampshire grads are like, you can't force them into shelters?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to, instead of the stick, we're going to use the carrot.
Right.
Come to this daytime shelter.
Yeah.
It's like a daycare center.
Right.
Free stuff.
Right.
This is a Brooklyn-bound A local train. The next stop is 23rd Street.
So this week's email from my mom's segment, I don't know what I'll call it, but basically every 6 months or maybe I get an email from my mom asking me to write her a check to donate to like this local fucking politician. So she works, she has a sort of a volunteer position on the board of this like a charitable nonprofit in a certain section of Manhattan, right? And I believe it's sort of like in the Hell's Kitchen region.
Yep.
I'm not going to name anything, but
will you say what field it's in, or
it's
that's
in
too
the
hot?
Arts.
The arts.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's irrelevant and non-essential. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She basically emails. She wants a contribution to like whatever local councilman is there, because it's essentially a bribe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like to donate to their campaign. And so then that politician...
Because that politician has a purview over where this arts organization is
like
located.
they sit on the committee in the city council that gives them a grant or whatever the fuck, you know? So basically that I got that email like a few days ago, last week, I guess, right? She wanted a donation from me and another check in the same amount from my wife to this particular local city council person, right, who I've never heard of. And it was annoying because I don't like politicians in general. And I definitely don't want to give money to politicians.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like they're just like the lowest genre of human. Plus, I read a book and they had a big chapter about political donations.
Yeah.
And the book was essentially trying to explain how we got to Trump. like in our country.
Yeah.
And one big part of it was he tied in the whole thing about political donations.
Yeah.
And how it's corrupted the system and whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, these guys who are elected spend all their time raising money.
Yeah.
So basically, you're giving them money to run so they can spend their time raising money to run again.
Yeah.
It's just like a goddamn cycle.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, my mom here we are. My mom sent me an email.
Yep.
For 2 checks, because I guess it's obviously it's beyond the certain the amount you're allowed to give.
Okay, all right. So let's
one
pause
person.
for a second.
Yeah.
Let me set the table here. Then this woman,
Yes.
your mother, gave birth to you and raised you.
Yeah.
She asked that you and your wife make these donations, knowing full well, frankly, that you and your wife have the disposable income to make. It's not like it's a financial ask of you. And but it seemed like it was because she could only give so much to this politician.
Yeah, there's
and
a
therefore
limit.
You gotta hit up other individuals to
Yeah.
skirt that limit.
Yeah. And not only that, but like there's some.
I shouldn't say skirt. That just there was no intent at all.
I don't even
here. Your mom's going to jail. You better watch out.
And I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But like, so you give money, but she kept stressing in that. I got multiple emails about it afterwards.
Yeah.
I kind of just put it off and ignored it essentially. And it's just not the way to deal with problems. I understand. But
that seems to be your strategy.
No, but basically, so I ignored it until finally she starts calling. It's like childish. The goal is for the person who's getting the money to give you credit or to know that like you're the one who gave money. Yeah. So when I'm looking at your grant application down the line, right? So she kept saying like, make sure you do it by this day because then we get credit for. She kept using that phrase, get credit for the donation. Maybe just otherwise it comes in as just like as a donation, and it's not like for this purpose or from this person. So who knows? Anyway, that was annoying.
It's a very transactional relationship, right? Very mercenary. Not you and your mom. I mean, the arts organization and the
but then maybe I wonder maybe if it weren't like the arts, I'd be like, okay, at least I don't. Is that really a cause?
Yeah, the arts.
Like if we have one less like theater in this goddamn city, maybe that's being like a sort of a Philistine or Basically, the upshot is that I only gave her the one check, so I kind of had my way, sort of.
So you were being passive-aggressive.
I was being passive-aggressive. I didn't give her the check from both of us because that would have been too much. It's a giant waste of money, and it just too annoying.
I mean, you had the money.
Right.
And so you decided to...
We'll do it halfway.
To just go halfway.
Yeah. And then, but I did look into, everything's like a public record. And I'm like, you know what? We give this money, that's going to appear... All
somewhere.
This
your name.
Election information, right? And so I was just flipping around on the internet one day, thinking about like political donations.
Yeah.
You can go in the any public forum to see who gave money to what campaign.
Yeah, your mom's theater. It's the Naked Theater of New York City, right?
No comment.
Yeah.
Let's put it. I haven't even seen a goddamn show there.
The Communist
in
Drama
years.
Collective.
This inspired me to go look in the New York Election Board website, I guess. And it is, you could put in your local guy and see who gave money and how much. And it's kind of like a little window into the city. Do you know Gail Brewer?
No, the name like rings a bell, but it's like obviously a low-level politician, right?
She's
City
like,
councilwoman?
Yeah, I think she's the Upper West Side person.
Okay.
Again, if you're raising all this money, what are they raising it for? A campain, right?
Yeah,
that's supposedly to make you people aware of who they are.
Yeah.
But have you never heard of Gail Brewer?
Well, the name rang a bell.
No, but I mean, when you go vote.
Yeah.
I've only heard of the guy running for mayor.
Yeah.
Have you heard of your local person?
No.
So what's a waste of money giving this lady?
Yeah.
What's she using it for?
Yeah.
And also, here's the other thing with this.
Yeah.
It's not like just giving. If you give money to a politician, that person has a salary.
Yeah.
They have a staff with salaries.
Yeah.
But you're just giving them money on top of all that.
Well,
it's
the
not like
staff
a
and the
charity.
salary can't. They're not allowed to.
But it comes from the government. It's
yeah,
not like
but
you're
that's
giving
to
money
do
to a charity.
governing. That's not to
run.
You need the separate money
extra,
for the running,
right? For an extra thing that's not even
It's an imperfect. I'm not saying the system is perfect.
But the running is you're giving them money.
Why don't you move to communist Soviet Union? Okay.
All right. Anyway, listen. So Gail Brewer, and this is again what I realized. I probably knew. A lot of these donations, it's just family money. Everybody does the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, well,
Gail Brewer's on her campaign donor list.
Yeah,
there's some guy named Ralph Bradley. Okay, there's like 25 people related to Ralph Bradley who gave money to Gail Brewer. And all across this city, some woman, probably in her 80s, emailed her goddamn son and was like, give me money to this Gail Brewer, right? And then emailed the nephew and the niece and stuff. So Ralph Bradley gave her $1,000, which it seems to me is a high donation looking at these lists. Gail Brewer, half her family gave money. It's like Gail Brewer, Conan Brewer, Kate Brewer, you know. Then there's the unions, which seem to be the biggest donors of all. Then, so I looked up I think this is my local guy, I'm not sure, Eric Botcher.
Okay.
So he got money from the union. Then there's some guy named Alex Carr who donated to him. Now, again, he gave $1,000. Yeah. And when you donate, you have to list what you do, your occupation. Yeah. And he works at the zoo on Staten Island.
I did. Wow. And
his
got
occupation
$1,000 to give away.
It says maintenance worker, zoo.
Okay. That's fishy.
So what is that all about?
I don't know. Well, you made it hot for this guy right now.
I mean, no, but like that's the other thing. This is all public information, and there are reporters who spend all day looking at these public records. Yeah. But if you're a maintenance worker at the zoo in the Staten Island, how are you giving $1,000 to Eric Botcher, who's not even doesn't even represent Staten Island? Yeah. Right.
Well, you don't know. It could be a lovely story. Maybe they went to high school together, and Botcher saved the other kid's life in a drowning accident at Coney Island. I don't know.
The rest of it is basically, I realize that it's essentially family and just bribes, because like Keith.
I know the unions. It's a
Keith and the union. Keith Powers. This is the last guy I researched. He's the Upper East Side person. Yeah. So he got $2,800, which is a big donation from some guy named David Levy, whose occupation is Adams Company Real Estate something. And I looked, who are they? They just have a lot of real estate in that district. Okay. Right? Which makes sense.
Yeah, you got real estate in the district. There you go.
But it's just a bribe.
Maybe he's related to Eric Adams, the mayor. We're going to die. If we die on this podcast, listeners, go research that real estate company, because that's why this just happened.
Adams Realty?
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Yeah. You just did the Pelican brief right here.
So that's politics. That's local politics. Yeah. Have you ever given money to a politician?
No. I don't recall. I almost did once to that. I won't mention his name. The guy that was running for governor. That was in our class.
If you didn't know him in some way.
No, because I like him as a person, but his party was across the party line. Right. So, big guy, if you're listening, you know who I'm talking about. Sorry about that.
Right. Hey, Utah District 12, listen up right here. There's a new name on the ballot for the Senate this year. My name is Linda Paulson, Republican and awesome. Love God and family and the Constitution.
All right.
What else do you want to talk about?
I was thinking about the last weekend where I went to the saddest place in New York City.
What's that?
It's the McDonald's on the corner of Essex and Delancey Streets.
McDonald's?
Sometimes I'm just in the mood for a greasy fast food burger. There's a football game on. I was like, I want to go to McDonald's. I want to get like a Big Mac and a quarter pound with cheese. I want to bring it home and watch the football game. So I walked. I took a walk out there. Then I almost had a change of heart, because you know the Essex Market that's right there?
Yes.
The new Essex Market's got all of these local stores, many with ties to the old Lower East Side. You know, the pickle store, delis, things like that. Veselka, has a branch there, the Ukrainian food store.
Yeah, I know it.
And I was like, oh, maybe I should get something healthy. And I walked around. I was like, nah. I was like, I still wanted to get McDonald's. So I walked over across the street, across Delancey, back to the McDonald's there on Essex and Delancey. Yeah. And this is the saddest place in New York City, I think. Yeah, for so many reasons.
That McDonald's.
Yeah, first of all, if you're listening to this and you watch fights on YouTube or on Twitter, you have that show up on your feed. There's a lot of times the fights are happening in this McDonald's.
Not surprised.
Some of them are actually the single male persistent street unhoused. Right. Yeah, involved in the fight. So there's a lot of fights there. And then what makes it even sadder these days is there's no customers in there. I was like one of two customers, like real customers. Everybody else was a DoorDash employee just, rushing in there to pick up to-go order. And you see the hollowing out of our economy where it's like all that's left for a lot of people is to just make less than minimum or barely minimum wage, risking your life, zipping around on an electric bike to deliver food to people.
DoorDash on McDonald's, do you think it's like people for themselves? They're just ordering like a burger on DoorDash?
I don't know.
Why don't you just go outside and get it? I mean, how far away? You can't live that far from McDonald's. There are not a lot of McDonald's, I know.
Well, I'll be honest. I did think about it for a second. I was like, should I order it and watch the ball again? I was like, no. At the
That's
very
admirable
least,
of you.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, at least I'm going to get some exercise. I need to walk off this 10,000 calories. So I walked. I did the loop around Essex Market. Yeah. I ordered the McDonald's. And even then, it's even sadder. There's no human interaction. There's like some touch screen. Did you know that?
I went to McDonald's on the road once this summer.
Yeah.
It was all touchscreen. Yeah, that sounds depressing.
I got the McDonald's and I brought it home, watched a football game, and the McDonald's was bad. It was like, it's just not like I remembered.
I think I was driving on I-95 sometime this summer, and I stopped at a McDonald's late at night. Yeah, it was okay. It was just it's like a little dry puck of a burger.
Yeah.
Fries are okay.
When the bun has to be soft. I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, was it not soft?
The bun wasn't soft. It was like kind of hard, and that ruins the mouthfeel of the burger.
I think McDonald's are depressing in general, highway, no highway, but especially in New York, there are not a ton of them, but they do seem to attract homeless folks. And also the one on 6th Street maybe and like 1st.
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy this summer?
Yeah. The guy who shot at the subway.
Shot the subway. They caught him there.
They didn't catch him there. That's where he surrendered.
I know. I happened to be walking past there maybe like an hour after he surrendered. I saw a lot of cops and people taking pictures of that McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I think he literally just gave himself up.
He gave himself up. Yeah, like Eric Adams tried to make it out like the cops had caught him. Yeah. And the guy was just basically called in and said, "Here, meet me at the McDonald's."
But I mean, that's like the McDonald's for you. It's like where you go to give yourself up to the cops after committing like a mass homicide.
Well, he actually didn't kill anyone. Wait, what? He shot up the subway and actually nobody died. No, he's the worst shot in the world.
Yeah. People were severely injured.
I don't know if severely injured, but definitely there were no fatalities. Given your culinary background, actually, how would you rate Burger King versus McDonald's?
I haven't been to a Burger King in forever, but it's grilled or something, isn't it?
They say it's flame broiled.
Flame broiled. Yeah. I think I went to one. The last one I went to was literally in Atlantic City 20 years ago.
This is a brief aside. On my way up to the farm outside the city, there is a Burger King on the way.
Yeah.
And they started offering the Impossible Whopper, which is from plant-based meat. Yeah. So I started.
How was that?
Yeah, it's good actually. Yeah.
Does it have the texture of a?
Yeah, it tastes like a burger.
What's the difference? There must be some kind of.
And they put like fake smoke flavor in it. It tastes really good.
Wait, is it? But it's thin, right? I feel like that would work with like a Burger King or McDonald's. Mm-hmm. But there's no way that if you go to like a real sort of like a burger actual restaurant, that would work because where the patty is more than like 3 millimeters thick.
Yeah. I guess the Impossible Whopper kind of tastes like a regular Whopper.
Good to know.
So I started going there because of that, and then during the pandemic, I would go once in a while, and I became famous at that place. They knew me.
Oh my god.
Well, I tried to be nice, and I would like tip, and then sometimes the lady would like offer me like, "Dude, I said you want some fries or a soda or something," because I would always just order the burgers.
Yeah. Well, so what else is? That's a sad place. There are probably so many sad places in New York. Port Authority is sad. When I was a kid, we've gone over this, but I spent about a lot of time taking the bus to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
As a child, not as a adult gambler. That's a depressing bus, especially now, I think, probably. And also I used to take guitar lessons around there, and I would take the subway back home at Port Authority. And it's like, it's a very,
it's where dreams go to die.
I mean, it felt like a third world. It feels like a third world country.
Yeah. Name a bus depot in any city that's not the saddest place in the city.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's move on from this because there's some fun stuff to talk about.
Okay. Please do. Try to improve the mood.
You know what is not a depressing spot in the city? Do you know the Mysterious Bookstore?
No. Again, calling back to previous episodes, immigrants don't have time for fiction. When we have time to read, we read nonfiction.
That's interesting. I don't think I've seen many immigrants in there.
Yeah.
So busy. Okay. So this is a bookstore down in Tribeca, which is kind of a fancy neighborhood.
Yes. Here we go. It's a bookstore. I'm guessing by the title, it's just for mystery books.
Just for mysteries.
Okay.
And it's such an awesome place. Mm-hmm. It looks like I like the way it is inside. Very cozy, like wood paneled. Yeah. And they have those rails with the ladders that you slide.
Wait, is this still open?
Yeah.
It's an independent bookstore that hasn't gone out of business?
No, it's only mysteries.
That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's a great place. It's often empty, so I wonder how they make. But they have those loft ladders on rails that slide around, so you can climb to the top levels, and it's all mysteries. And it's not like the Strand. It's not like that. It's not like used books. You know, it's not like some guy.
Because the Strand doesn't look happy.
I know, and it's just
too crowded.
Full of people, and all the shit. The books probably feel like have like diseases on them.
Yeah,
because they've come from some guy's like estate sale.
Yeah,
but this is just new books, new and all mysteries. If you happen to like mysteries. But and then they have like first editions and Sherlock Holmes sections, and the guy who runs it or owns it is sort of like a well-known editor. His name is all over the place. He edits like
what's his name?
Otto Penzler. He edits
is he on Twitter?
He's like 80.
Oh, okay.
But he's like He edits like the best crime stories of the year. They have their own like imprint and stuff.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
we have a listener in Minnesota whose husband has apparently a
bookstore,
his own imprint, and like one of the best independent.
What's
like,
it called?
Sort of, I don't know if this person wants their name thrown out there, but if you're listening to this episode, shout out. We love you.
They probably know this. Yeah, you know of
this listener
store.
would know about
this
store.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So back to Otto Penzler.
Yeah.
So I was thinking when I walk into the store and there's the cashier guy.
Yeah.
They all look like sort of educated people who sit there and just read all day. If I were to own that store.
Yeah.
It seems like one of these like little niche businesses that when you walk in, you want someone to like direct you. You know, it's not like going to
when you go to Barnes and Nobles, like no one's gonna direct you around.
Or if it's like going to like Gristedes, I'm looking for a can of soup.
Yeah,
it's like they literally sell one thing, right? But they have 10,000 types of them.
Yeah,
right? And so you're like, where do I even start with a mystery? Like there's so many. It's like limitless.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that if I owned that place, and it seems like the two guys who work at the registers, like know a lot because they always say, "Yeah, can I help you?" You know, and I'm like, well, I'm just kind of browsing, but yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're like, what kind of mysteries do you like? Like Victorian novels, or
do you like international? Because we have a section from Venice, you know, and there's an Inspector Guadagnini, or whatever. So I thought of a business idea. Okay, which is, where would you find someone who can just process a lot of like information
about one specific
topic? And then I started thinking of the movie Rain Man, right? And that guy was super good at numbers, right?
Yeah.
And processing information about topics. If you could, he was supposed to be autistic, I think, right? Yeah. So if you could hire a guy like that to work in your goddamn mystery bookstore or a wine store, that's another kind of place, right?
It's calling back to our wine episode.
They sell one thing.
I said it explicitly. I thought that maybe there was a correlation between Asperger's and people who like to collect wine.
That's true. So you have one product, one store that sells one thing, but like 1,000 types of them. You know?
Yeah. So this is niche stores.
Yeah, niche stores.
Staffed by Asperger's syndrome sufferers. I don't say sufferers. I want to make this very positive. Staffed by autistics and those who have Asperger's syndrome, to sell, maybe obscure wines or a certain niche of literature, or maybe like a hardware store too. Because I've always felt like sometimes if you've ever dealt with a contractor or a plumber, they're really into their work, and they just have like an encyclopedic knowledge of like, oh, we're going to need a 5/8 flange for this because in 1969, the American Pipe Company switched to a 3/8 thread.
They have to know code and stuff.
Yeah. So that would seem to be a very good labor force from which to pick. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know if, so I've gone into I don't know anything about hardware stores or wine, frankly. Yeah. But I go into once in a while, screws fall out or you buy something that needs assembly. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have the, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I go to the hardware store and it's like, oh God, there's like 40 different types of, screwdriver and then the guy, so that would help having, and they're all like that. Yeah. Do you need
Well, I guess, there's like the common thread in this episode is we're like, it's like we're trying to get back to an economy where there's, where there's actual customer service and people help you decide on something. And it's not just a store that's just puking out everything in the world. Right. Yeah.
So if you go into this mystery bookstore and he's like, can I help? If you want to open your own little niche business. Yeah. What are the odds you're going to find a guy who's read 4,000 mysteries, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to sit there and train someone. Yeah. It's cheap. Like there's a service.
Yeah. So maybe our business idea is to open a training center for those with autistic kids because their autism is on the rise. Right. Maybe we create a center where autistic parents can bring their kids, and we're going to find what your autistic kid is really, really interested in. and can study in depth so that they can become the world's expert in I don't know, like pipe fittings or, a certain type of screw or a certain type of book.
Right.
I mean, I think we're gonna have a lot that the dinosaur and train collection.
I like toys.
Yeah, that's gonna be. We're gonna have a lot of that. But we gotta find the ones that are also interested in counting cards, because those guys have a bright future ahead of them. Counting cards. Well, I don't know. Maybe if how familiar you are with high frequency trading, but if we could train thousands of them to watch the tape meticulously, to watch the second by second the changes in indexes versus their underlying securities in the basket representing the index. There may be arbitrage opportunities. So, and we're not making fun because I think that people who have autistic children, the big worry is, what are they going to do when we're gone? Right. We want to give them a career. And if you think actually we're being offensive, we're actually being European and very liberal, because I think I read in the Times maybe years ago, there's an article, I think in Denmark or the Netherlands, there's some program where they do exactly this.
Job training for
autistics, yeah.
Not all autistic people, I think, have a Rain Man-like abilities, right?
We can find something trainable in all of these children, I think. That is my heartwarming goal.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel differently. I don't know.
No, I agree. Well, okay, job training center.
Yeah, job training center for those with autism. We'll probably get a fat contract from the government. If anybody copies this, we're going to find you and kill you.
We did it! We did it! We did it! Yay! Always team up. We did it!
Shout out and say hi to us at our Gmail, which we should have probably put out in our first show, but we waited till episode whatever this is. centralparktreehouse@gmail.com. All one word. centralparktreehouse@gmail.com. Shoot us your name, or not even your full name, just an address.
And we'll send you a t-shirt. It's going to be a high quality t-shirt. High thread count t-shirt. With an ultra-modern design.
Yeah, it's going to be super dope and look very stylish in New York. So we've got listeners all over the world. I mean, you're laughing, but it's true.
I know.
They're not that many, but I don't know how many podcasts can say they've got listeners in Turkey, Pakistan. We had one in Jakarta, Indonesia, Australia, although that person seems to have dropped off. So South Korea. So send us an email.
And we'll send you a t-shirt. And send us a picture of yourself walking around
the
wearing
t-shirt
it.
without any pants on. Just kidding about that.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can, though.
All right, good one.
Okay, all right, bye.
Bye.
Well, that's the show, folks. Our theme song was performed by Echo Strada. He's an incredible Brooklyn-based artist creating psychedelic alternative music. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes.
Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice creep on the corner. Don't look so nice. Now he's pooping. Why, I don't know. Life's full of mysteries. Now it's time for the show.
That was fucking awesome!
That was awesome.
Yes!